All right, for those who've joined already, we're going to get started in just a few minutes here. All right, we're about 7 past, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. Feel free at any point in time to ask questions. If you can't figure out how to ask questions on the YouTube stream, go ahead and send an email to mdscdaycamp@gmail.com, and we'll answer them as we move along. We'll stop periodically and read out the questions and provide an answer for any questions you may have. All right, so this is my 20th day camp. It is run entirely by volunteers. So there are no paid staff working at day camp. I got into it because I grew up doing day camp as a Cub Scout, as a junior helper, and eventually as a parent. So camp doesn't happen if it wasn't for the volunteers. So a big thanks to anyone who's coming to camp to volunteer. It's not possible to run a camp without volunteers. This year's theme is CSI. So the Scouts get the opportunity to work with super sleuths. They get to understand decoding, a variety of different activities that have fun. If you've been to our camp before, they've been to our camp before, we run a camp-wide game. In the camp-wide game, they get the opportunity to experience a running theme throughout the entire week. They might see a variety of people join us in camp, such as some international supervillains that try to disrupt camp. They'll get the opportunity to play along with the storyline throughout the week, and so we hope they have a lot of fun with the entire camp from projects to theme throughout the week. Every day, we have pretty much the same schedule with the exception of Friday or our rotation activities. The way we run the camp is that they'll rotate through a variety of different stations. They go through stations about 50 minutes a station. They'll work on projects. They'll get the opportunity to do BB or archery, swimming. We do swimming as they'll do 2 days or earlier in the day or 2 days that are later in the day. So that way in the event that it is cold, in the morning, as we saw, it rained yesterday. So you never know what kind of adjustment weather we get in June. We want to make sure they get a great experience having various different types of weather for the different activities. And they'll do cooking, photos, unit time, scavenger hunts. This year we have the luck of having someone coming in and running a radio station on top of the communication truck coming in from the fire department. So they'll have some special treats this year and that we're looking forward to. Camp is mostly covered by trees. The exceptions are our sports gathering, BB archery, and the pool. Most of the time, they'll be underneath the trees when they're at crafts, unit time, lunch, during lunchtime assembly, and also engineering. But they do see about 40% of the day they are in the sun. So we want to make sure that we have lots of sunscreen on them at all times. As well, and keep them hydrated because they are out in the heat. We do provide water bottles for the Cub Scouts. So it's the one thing you'll see in the list that we don't ask you to provide. That is just for the Cub Scouts. For tags, adult staff, or junior helpers, we ask them to bring their own water bottle. The Cub Scouts, we provide their water bottle. They get a pouch that stays at camp throughout the week with their name on it in order to make sure they're hydrated. But we do not provide sunscreen. We ask that you send sunscreen with your Scout. Okay. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to comment on the YouTube broadcast, or send an email to mdscdaycamp@gmail.com, and we'll answer them for you. Parking and procedures. Traffic gets very busy, and we have to deal with a variety of other factors. It is a narrow road, 2 lanes, one either direction. We have horse stables nearby. We have a fencing company that needs to get in and out of their parking lot. Traffic to Los Trompos Regional Park, and a couple other utility vehicles that sometimes come by. In order to manage it, we take the traffic procedures very seriously because we want to be good neighbors, follow traffic rules, and keep everyone safe. One of the reasons why we do this training is to make sure that we can move as smoothly as possible during drop-off and pickup. During pickup, you will be directed to head all the way down to the gates for the entrance to Los Trompos Regional Wilderness. You'll be making a U-turn, coming back, and then pulling off to the side of a fence by some gravel. Then you will be entering into the parking lot, following a loop of cones around, and having your child put in the vehicle for you. There is a one-way entrance through the gate. It is only wide enough for one car to enter and exit, so we do manage that traffic in and out of the gate. Volunteers park a little bit farther down beyond the gates. They park and they back into their parking spots. They could be leaving or entering camp at the end of the day, so that we also have them while we have cars picking up. Sometimes there are people leaving volunteer parking, and we have to merge them into exiting traffic. The drop-off and pickup area is inside. The Scouts will be behind barricades with numbers for their units. The parents will enter the parking lot. You'll take a right-hand turn around the cones, and you will come up to a station where we will collect your ID and pickup slips, which I'll cover in a second. And then we will then direct you forward. We will load your Scouts into the vehicle, and then we will direct you around, and someone will direct you to leave the parking lot when we have stopped traffic to allow cars to exit the parking lot, and you'll continue on your way. If you needed to park for any reason, you will come in the parking lot, you'll follow the cones around, and you will back into a parking spot along the fence line. This could be if you need to drop off medication, early pickup, late drop off, or whatever reason you need to park in order to exit camp, or if we have to park you in the events that we had to deal with a pickup slip issue and resolve it. So not a lot of parking happens during camp, with the exception mostly Monday and Friday with medications. This entire presentation will be online. So if you would like to review any of this information, we do have it available online, and we will send out a link to all the families as well. You'll see here, this is a diagram that approximates how the procedures flow in case you're curious. So we color-coded it if it works better for you to visually see it this way. Arrivals, we ask our volunteers to arrive a little bit earlier, about 8:15 a.m. That way they can get signed in, get into camp, they can back in, and they're available in the assembly area. So when Scout drop-off begins between 8:35 to 9 a.m., we have someone to take the scouts in. You'll pull up, the scout will get out of the car. It's very similar to drop off at a school. And they will go to the table there. The junior helpers will escort them into assembly area. If you are an adult volunteer, you'll sign in at the table at the top of the hill before going to your station. For junior helpers, if they are coming with a scout, and there's no parent staying, and the scouts are being dropped off, they come with the scout. If they are coming with the adult volunteers, they come with that carpool. If junior helpers are coming by themselves and they're not associated with an adult volunteer or scouts, we suggest that they show up at 8:15, the time of the volunteers arrive. There's less traffic for parents dropping off junior helpers. Pickup. The scouts arrive to the parking lot around 3:55 p.m. It takes us about 20 minutes, 22 minutes to completely load the cars. That's from the first scout getting in to the last car getting off the streets, because we do back up the street a little bit. So it takes about 20 minutes. Because we can block the street, we highly recommend that parents don't show up too early and block the street. Show up closer to 3:55. If you are there at 3:20 p.m., you'll spend more time waiting than it takes to actually get every kid in the car, even if you're the last person in line. So please try not to show up too early and avoid blocking the street whenever possible. Volunteers, we tell them that by the time we load that 20 minutes, and they take about 5 minutes to get to their car, they could leave as late as 4:20 p.m. If you happen to be a volunteer and you missed their trainings, and your scouts from your unit have been picked up, then you'll be able to leave from your with your scouts at that point in time. So you could leave a little earlier. It's when you have no additional scouts in your unit to be picked up. If you're working in a station, then that's not a concern. You'll be able to leave from your station once your station's clean, take your scouts and move forward. Junior helpers, they always go home with their carpool. If they are, again, standalone junior helpers with no scouts and or adult volunteers, we ask that parents try to pick them around 4:20 p.m. That way traffic is ended, and a lot of the time the junior helpers help us with pickup. On Thursday, the junior helpers go later to a party afterwards. It's done about 6:30 time frame. We are setting up for Friday games, so we treat them to a party. It was in the survey that you filled out. So if you filled out, yes, your junior helper's coming, expect to come a little bit later. If you don't want to come too late, you're more than welcome to come with us and help us clean up and set up while your junior helper enjoys themselves. Your younger children are welcome. So if you want to help us during Thursday and you have a junior helper, feel free to come, park, and come into camp. On Friday, the scouts pickup is earlier. It's at 2:25 p.m. And volunteers expect to leave about 2:50. If you are staying to clean up on Friday, we'll help park you. Scouts can check into the tags area. And we do always need people to help. We need to be out of there by 5:30, so we have a limited period of time. The more people that are there, the faster we can get out of camp. So if you saw the Sign Up Genius and you'd like the opportunity to help us, please sign up or just let us know on Friday. And the more people we have, the faster we get out of camp. So we always appreciate help. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second. I have not seen any questions sent to the day camp email box or on the live chat. In order to live chat, you do have to log into Google. It should show you on the screen if you're on a computer, the ability to log in. But again, you can always email us any questions that you have. All right, pickup slips. The pickup slips are probably the most important part of the pickup process to recognize as a parent. We are working on the unit formations. They should be done here in a few hours. Once we are done with that, we will be sending out an email to all the parents. You will receive a welcome letter for your scout. It will provide a lot of the information you see here, reminders about what to bring to camp, schedule, etc. And it will include pickup slips. The pickup slips will already have your scout's name on it, their unit number, and the ID we use the registration ID we use to know that they were sent by us. What you will end up doing is using this every single day. You will write the name of the person who's picking up your child from camp, so it could be anyone that you authorize. You'll sign it, and you'll date it, and you'll circle which day of the week that this is for. What this is the golden ticket to pick up your child. The reason why we use this system, it is the only way for us to audit to make sure that we're putting the right kids in the right cars. And in the event that someone came back to camp and said to us, where's my child, and we do not have them, the first thing we do is we go through our pickup slips and see if they're there. Often it's parents forgot they had a carpool or a grandparent was picking up their child. And this is a way that we have the opportunity to make sure that we know that your scout was picked up appropriately. There is no cell phone signal once you get onto Bollinger after Crow Canyon. You go about 2,000 feet, 3,000 feet away from Crow Canyon Road, and you lose cell phone service. So there's not a lot of ability to call anyone there. We have landline access. So it's important for us to have the slips. It gives us peace of mind, and it's for the safety of your children. If you are carpooling with children and you are taking other people's children, do not take them if you plan on being the pickup without their slips. So please ask for the slips from the parents of the children you are taking to and from camp. That applies to unit leaders or anyone else. If there is not a slip, we first park the car of the person who is picking up the child without the slip. The first thing we look at is the information you filled out in the survey, the family information. We look at the emergency contacts and the authorized list of people you put for pickup. So if they're on that authorized list, we fill out a manual slip. We'll ID it, and we'll allow that child to go home with the person that is on your authorized list or one of your emergency contacts. In the event that we do not have that information in the survey, we will then next check the medical forms. The medical A and B has on the first page people that are authorized to pick up your child for camp. This takes a little bit of time. So if someone doesn't have a slip, it could take upwards of 30 minutes because we're going to check the database on my iPad first. If it's available, we'll move fast. If we have to go check the medical forms, it could take us a little bit of time to clear out the parking lot, walk into camp, pull out the medical binder, look at it, and validate that person's in the medical form. After which, we will then call the parents to get a voice authorization that it's okay for their child to go home with someone else. So please get these slips. If you are trying to pick up a child without a slip, including your own child, and if you're not correctly listed in the surveys or our databases, it can take us a period of time to contact someone else or check the medical forms to make sure that your name is on it and you're the signatory of the medical form. So we have these forms, and it's just really easy to remember to get them done. So take it seriously so that way we can protect your child, and also so we can move quickly and get the children loaded in the cars out of camp. You will not get out of your car. We load the scouts into the car for you. And so we'll collect your slips. We'll ask you for an ID, so please have an ID available. When you pull up, have your window ready to go. Roll down your window, hand us a slip and ID. We'll check it, hand your ID back, move you forward, and a junior helper will go fetch your children for you, load them into the car, and you'll move on your way. All right. I'll give it a second here to see if anyone has any questions on email or chats, and then we'll continue on to the next topic. Okay. We don't see any questions yet. If any come in on email or chat, we'll go back and cover those. This is the list of to bring items, and you'll get a copy of this in your welcome letter as well. They will bring a backpack, a lunch and snack. We do not have refrigeration for them. If your unit leader provides a cooler, you can reach out to your unit leader and ask. When we finish forming units, you'll get a welcome letter. You'll also get an intro to everyone in your unit, so that way you can share information and work on carpools. Closed-toed shoes are mandatory in camp. If they do not have closed-toed shoes, we will be contacting parents to have them delivered to camp. The question was asked yesterday about Keens, which have closed-toed. Because they do walk on the trail 1 or 2 days, there is tan bark in camp. We do not want open heels. So try to find closed-toed shoes that adequately protect them. Think of them as being outdoors or in a hiking scenario. Ziploc bag for a wet swimsuit. Backpacks and water don't mix, so please bring a gallon Ziploc bag for them to put the wet swimsuit in every single day. Remember to take it out at the end of the day as well, so that way it dries. You will also need a towel, sunscreen, hats are a great idea, sunglasses, swimsuits. This is a suggestion we have to help out your scout. They could wear the swimsuit in the morning underneath their jeans or shorts, depending on the weather. The reason why we recommend this is scouts tend to go to a changing area. They change into their swimsuit, they put their clothes in their backpack, they swim, they come back, they change out of their swimsuit, put their clothes back on, and they walk away, and we find pairs of underwear on the ground, which no one seems to want to claim. So to avoid that step of accidentally leaving their underwear on the ground, we recommend that they wear their swimsuit underneath their shorts, and that way their underwear is in their backpack, and they're not forgetting to put it in their backpack when they change out of it. It's just a great suggestion, totally up to you. That's just one thing we've learned in the past. On Monday, they need a pair of new tennis shoelaces that are 36 inches of any color. They're going to be using it to make a craft. And also like a 2-inch or 3-inch passport size photo for their CSI ID, like a school photo size of small ones, and they're going to have an ID that they're going to make and be able to wear as a academy cadet at CSIA. This information will come out as well in email in case you forget, and you can always look at the presentation online. Here's an example of one of our engineering projects. They'll come home with projects throughout the week. We try to make projects that are useful or provide great skills or have a theme. They get to do a variety of different projects, and this is a bit of a sneak peek for you to see one before they do. What not to bring to camp. Weapons of any kind. They do not need Boy Scout pocket knives, fire starters, etc. No electronic games devices. As we said, we have limited cell coverage. They do not need any of these devices with them. They do not need money. There's nothing to buy in camp. So if they try to convince you they need $20, it's not for camp. So they don't need it. And we do have a lost and found area that will be by the entrance and headquarters. If you needed to go check the lost and found, again, during pickup and drop off, you can park. And then come into camp, and it'll be right in the entrance of camp. Make sure that you don't walk around camp. If you have any questions, you can ask our headquarters. You'll see a table right there, people sitting at it, and a white tent that has a tree coming through it. All right, again, if you have any questions, you can either log into the live chat and ask them, or send us an email at ndscdaycamp@gmail.com, and we'll get them answered for you here. Okay, medic. We do have medic on site. We have a couple of people that are qualified medical staff. This is why we ask everyone to have a medical A and B form on file to be on site, because we have to have their medical information. Any campers that are have an injury, they report to the medic with their buddy. Junior helper adult will escort them to the tent. We triage and treat them. We record them. And for any injury, we would be notifying the parents or EMS if we had to activate it. All medications, prescriptions over the counter must go to the medic. The exception is EpiPens and rescue inhalers. We obviously be okay with taking a spare one. If you have an additional you would like to leave with the medic, you may come in on Monday and deliver any of these medications to the medic. Remember to pick them up on Friday. Do not bring the medications to camp if not necessary, and make sure they are in their original containers. Again, just park on Monday. Let us know you need to come in and talk to the medic. The medic is right inside camp to the left. There's a gazebo. You'll see some tarps over it, and that's where the medic is located. We need it labeled, and we lock up all medications. And if they need to take their medications, they would report to the medical station to receive their medication. And if you need refrigeration for any reason, please email us and notify us. Over-the-counter medications, again, we ask that those turn into the medic as well. If you checked off over-the-counter medication on your medical A and B form, we provide the basic Motrin, Avaltanol, or adult Motrin, Tylenol, Excedrin, or similar medications. And we always check the medical form to see if that is permission for that. All right. Again, if you have any questions, you can sign into the chat online and ask us, or email us at mdscdaycamp@gmail.com. Friday game day, we start a couple minutes later, so it's 5 minutes later. Drop-off starts at 8:40 instead of 8:35 a.m. We do remind everyone on Thursday night, just in case. And also, volunteers, the cleanup afterwards are appreciated. Game day ends a little bit later, by the way, again, it ends at 2:25 p.m. We will, again, remind you and email you. So we duplicate a lot of communications to make sure we reach everybody. Food donations. You will receive in your welcome letter, it has in red, bright, bold letters, the day that we ask for a food donation. Drop these off in the morning for your scouts. We provide a sample list of what we want you to do. If you're volunteering, just bring them into the front desk. If you are dropping off your scout, have them deliver it. The junior helpers will take it from them at the table at the top of the parking lot. We ask for things that don't require forks and knives, fruits, cupcakes, cookies, muffins, chips. Gatorade is very popular. Of the junior helpers, there's about 50 of them on site, and we have about 60 adult staff. And this is an opportunity for us to reward the junior helpers for the hard work they do for the scouts, and also to make sure adults are taking breaks so they're energized and have an opportunity to stay healthy and relieve stress when they're on site. So everyone, we ask, you'll get 1 day to donate food. Okay, special checkout procedures. The medical A and B forms. We have the authorization and not authorization on camp that we keep. This is, again, something we talked about earlier. We check everything on the medical forms as our last resort. The first resort is we check anything in the database unless someone comes with a slip. They have a slip. They are authorized to pick up child. Please come prior to 3 p.m. Once we get about 3 p.m., we're getting close to closing. We're in our last rotation, and we're very busy trying to close out camp, doing trash, last calls, getting ready for closing assembly, and getting our parking system set up. So please come before 3 p.m. if you need to pick up your child early for any reason. You'll come into the front of camp. You will go to the desk right there in that white tent, the tree coming through it. Ask them to pick up child. We will go retrieve your child for you, come back, we'll check your ID and pick up slip, or go through the standard procedures to validate you have the ability to pick them up. So please have your slip so we can move a lot faster, and then you may check your child. In the inverse, late arrival, if you arrive late, please try to notify your unit pack coordinator earlier, or send a email to the day camp email box, or we provide a Google Voice phone number that is on your welcome letter if you need to call us, and you can send a text to it or any calls. Even though we don't have cell coverage, we have limited ability to use internet access there with the camp, and we have the ability to check those messages. If you do not notify anyone that your child is going to be absent or late, we assume that when we mark them absent on the forms that they got dropped off in the parking lot and got lost on the way into camp. So we do end up calling every parent of every child who is not shown as in camp, but we were not aware that they were supposed to be home instead of at camp. So please try to notify us if you plan to miss camp or be late as soon as you can. If you are going to be late, you just walk into camp, you check them at the table. We will take them off of your hands, and our junior helpers will escort them to whatever station they're supposed to be at. All right, that is everything you need to know. Again, the welcome letter will cover a lot of this information, and this information will be available online. If you have not had a chance to do so, feel free to sign up to help us on setup on Sunday or clean up on Friday. We always appreciate the additional help. If you are looking to volunteer and haven't done so already, just go ahead and fill out a survey on the participant survey, and make sure you get your relevant paperwork to your pack, so that way we know to get you assigned to a station. Thank you to everyone who's a volunteer. And if you're a volunteer and you did not get the volunteer training, you can look at last night's webinar. we do cover the volunteer information, or you can join us at 1 p.m. in Little Hills on this Sunday in order to walk through training. If you have any questions, because I have not seen any come in an email or online, just feel free to email us, and we'll do everything we can to answer your questions. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing your scouts at camp.